Hello there you guys, welcome to another one of my live videos, and today I'm just going to be officially updating you on some more current latest news. So if you do consider drop your likes, and if you do consider subscribe to the channel as always. So lots to talk about on this current video today, but the first topic of the development I'm going to give you an update on is in regards to Benfica's now Joao Fleix. Now reportedly Manchester United are preparing to put a bid in of around £100 million for Joao Fleix. Manchester United now have currently stepped up their interest in him. I think there's been quite a few other teams that have attracted their interest in Joao Fleix, reflecting on his impressive performances throughout the course of this season with Benfica. But potentially Manchester United, of course, yet again have instructed scouts throughout the weekend, of course, to keep a close eye out on Joao Fleix. But potentially, Manchester United have been linked to him at least in the last couple of months. Man United scouts have been watching him on a regular basis. Of course, he's only 19 years of age, but Man United now have begun negotiations, to try and get a deal over the line for the youngster. But he is currently 19 years of age, and I do believe he's got all the attributes, to come and succeed in the Premier League. If he was to come to the Premier League, of course. Obviously, throughout the course of throughout this season, it's only been his first season in the senior squad with Benfica, but he's primarily an attacking midfielder. I think he can also play as a winner. He can also play as a striker. So he is versatile, and I do believe, from my own opinion, he can become one of the best players in the world. I don't think he'd probably, I don't think he'd emulate into like a Cristiano Ronaldo or Lionel Messi, but I do believe he can become one of the best players in the world. But he is only 19 years of age. He's got immense talent, full of goals, full of assists. But Manchester United, of course, through this weekend, yet again instructed scouts, to keep a close eye out on him. But yeah, there has been a lot of talks about him, because obviously, he's been on Manchester United's agenda for some time. Obviously, the rumours were going on about this currently in January. But yeah, I think it'd be fantastic, with Joao Fleix. But his initial release clause is around £100 million in his deal with Benfica. But yeah, I think he obviously is the upcoming future, and I think he can become, one of the best players in the world. And I think if he came to the Premier League, he'd rip the Premier League part, with Joao Fleix. But yeah, I think it'd be fantastic for Manchester United. But obviously, Solskjaer's made it clear, he's worked out his transfer strategy for this summer. He wants to recommend a number of young players to come in, that can grow, develop and emulate into superstars. And he's obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is not intending on bringing any short-term players in. Obviously, as we all know, looking to bring at least 5 new additions to the club this summer. Obviously, we are expected to get rid of at least 5 players, but we are going to get a spending spree of around £250 million to spend. Obviously, it's going to be more than that. If we can get rid of Pogba, if we can get rid of Lukaku, and as I did say, that will help us with our rebuilding process, and of course, it will help us with our transition. So yeah, Joao Fleix, I think, would be a fantastic player for Manchester United, and I'd like the Portuguese duo Bruno Fernandes and Joao Fleix, but I don't see Manchester United, getting both of them, to be quite honest with you. But a few teams have expressed their interest in Joao Fleix. And talking about Bruno Fernandes, as we all do know, Manchester United have been in for him. Man United have been scouting him in the last couple of months, at least, reflecting on his impressive performances for Sporting Lisbon. He is 24 years of age, is Bruno Fernandes, but as I did say, I think he's got all the capabilities, and I do believe he's got all the attributes as Bruno Fernandes, to come and succeed in the Premier League. And I do believe he'd, produce and deliver the same element of the performances that he has been doing in his couple of years with Sporting Lisbon. Bruno Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes is primarily an attacking midfielder. So looking at it, we would see him as a replacement for Paul Pogba. Reportedly, it did say Sporting Lisbon want around £60 million for him. His initial release clause is around 85 or £86 million. Obviously, as we all do know, Manchester City have been interested in, obviously, a player of Bruno Fernandes' calibre. Obviously, the more attractive option, would be Manchester City for him, of course. But as I did currently say, Manchester United are still in there with Bruno Fernandes, but he has got a contract with Sporting Lisbon until 2023. Obviously, he had a lot of experience playing in Italy when he was younger, with Sampdoria and underneath. So he has been on Manchester United agenda, for quite some time, because we do need new additions in that midfield. We need someone that can score goals in that midfield. We need creativeness in that midfield, and we do need depth in that current midfield, because obviously that is that's one of the areas where we are currently lacking, because obviously it's looking likely Pogba's going to be going. Obviously, we do know Ander Herrera's going on a free transfer to PSG. So yeah, we've got to address that midfield, of course. But I think Bruno Fernandes, would be the right solution. I think he'd bring us them current goals that we do need. He's full of goals, he's full of assists, and he has still got a lot of years ahead of him as Bruno Fernandes. But as I did say, it did come out the other week saying that Manchester City, were in talks, to Manchester City were in talks with Sporting Lisbon, to to get a deal over the line for Bruno Fernandes. It did say City were close to finalising a deal. It did say City, I think it was a deal worth around £47 million. It did say City were willing to offer one or two of their players as part of the deal. But now, and then initially, I think it did allegedly say that City adopted out of the race. But it has been Man U and Man City, of course, in for Bruno Fernandes. But I do believe he would dramatically improve us in that midfield. So I'd love both of them. I'd love Bruno Fernandes. I'd love Joao Fleix. Reports came out, was it about 2 weeks ago, something like that, saying that it would cost Manchester United around £150 million for the pair of them. But I don't see Manchester United, getting the pair of them, to be quite honest. They would be fantastic for Manchester United because Joao Fleix has been fantastic for Benfica. Bruno Fernandes has been fantastic for Sporting Lisbon. So I'd love them, both to come. And obviously, as we all know, they're both primarily attacking midfielders. Joao Fleix is an attacking midfielder primarily, and obviously, Bruno Fernandes is primarily an attacking midfielder. So I think that, they would be fantastic for Manchester United. Obviously, Bruno Fernandes is more experienced than Joao Fleix because obviously, Bruno Fernandes is obviously 5 years older than Joao Fleix. But yeah, I do believe that Joao Fleix, can graduate to that level where he wants to be, and I do believe he can become one of the best players in the world. But I don't think he'll emulate into a Ronaldo or a Messi, but I still believe he can become one of the best, of course. But he's still very, very young, and yeah, so he has got a bit of experience now, Joao Fleix. So yeah, I'd love him, to come to Manchester United. But as I did currently say, Solskjaer, wants to bring at least 5 new additions to the club. Obviously, we do know Manchester United are looking to hire a director of footballing. Obviously, we do need a structural change at the club, and it would be ideal, to recommend someone, who knows about the club, someone who, of course, has got the experience. And there has been quite a few candidate names mentioned, but obviously, we do know Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is going to need back in this summer. As we all do currently know, at the moment, this squad is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's, of course. Obviously, looking at it, he's still in the process of rebuilding. Obviously, I think maybe we should be sensible with our recruitment this summer because we are all aware that there's quite a few players out there for a reasonable figure, and we do know Manchester United, of course. We do know Manchester United, have got an history, of spending big on players. Prime example, Lukaku, £75 million, Paul Pogba, £89 million. Obviously, our most expensive signing. Always getting the Galactico players, always spending big on players, doesn't always guarantee you success and doesn't always get you in that commanding position, of course, where you do currently want to be. But I do believe in the next couple of seasons, our aspirations is obviously, we're going to be fighting for the top 4. That's going to be our aspirations in the next couple of seasons because at the moment, City are strides ahead of us, Liverpool, of course, our strides ahead of us. But we do know a lot of money has been invested into the club, since Alex Ferguson retired. Obviously, we've had different managers with different philosophies, of course. And we have spent a hell of a lot of money. I think over like £700 million has been spent, in all the managerial areas. So a lot of money has been currently spent at Manchester United. But none of this squad is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's, of course, as you all know. He watched from this team at this day and age, grow and develop when he was managing the Manchester United reserve team, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. But obviously, none this squad is currently is. So looking at it, as I said, he's still in the process of rebuilding. But any signings we do make this summer has got to fit the culture and the history of the club, because obviously we've got a cultural we've got cultural problems at the moment, as you all know. But I'm still backing Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, because as I did say, we haven't got the structure to keep sacking managers, and the fear factor has gone at the moment, based on our poor running performances and results, and obviously it has gone on since he has got the job permanently, because reflecting back when he was in his first 3 months as the interim manager, he's doing well, the results were good, the performances were good, and then expectation levels were currently met. But we'll see what happens, this summer, see what happens, of course, going on into next season. And if it all goes wrong, then I will be critical of him, then I will demand him out of my club, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. So yeah, give him time. As I said, he's looking to build a squad worthy of the club's history, and we do know Ole Gunnar Solskjaer hasn't really got the experience of a manager, not to the highest level anyway. He hasn't won much. Well, he did win a couple of titles with moulded Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and potentially he had the experience of a player, but he hasn't really got it as a manager, Solskjaer. So we'll see who we can bring in the summer. But yeah, like I said, I'd love Joao Fleix, to come to Manchester United. I think he's got all the attributes, to succeed in the Premier League, and I think he'd fit the Manchester United agenda really, really well. But yeah, Man United now have stepped their interest up. These negotiations are currently going on, but I think Man United are willing to pay up to the £100 million for Fleix, because obviously, we've got the financial power, of course, to meet his valuation. And that is a lot of money, for a young player who's upcoming. But as I did come to say, he's proven himself fantastically well, with Benfica throughout the course of this season. And talking about Paul Pogba, as we all know, I think for Paul Pogba now, to make his move, to Real Madrid, I think he's got, he's got to currently put in that transfer request as Paul Pogba. And we do know Paul Pogba, he's still one of the best midfielders in the world, when he's playing in the right vein and when he's playing in the right manner. Obviously, we have seen glimpses of Paul Pogba's best form, as you all know. We mainly saw it in that 3-month period, when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was the interim manager. And obviously, when it was mainly when Ander Herrera was playing, that's when we saw the best of Paul Pogba, because obviously, he freed Paul Pogba already down to Herrera, and that just emphasises how much of an impact, of course, Ander Herrera did make Manchester United, and this is why I'm very, very disappointed, we have let him go on a free transfer. Obviously, that's bad judgment from Manchester United, but obviously, as reports came out, was it in the last couple of days, saying that talks had stalled, between Paul Pogba and Real Madrid, obviously, based on his 13 million a year wage demands. Obviously, his wage demands did not fit the wage structure of Real Madrid. Obviously, reports came out the other week saying that Real Madrid initially weren't willing to match his £290,000 a week wages, so it did say Paul Pogba would have to take some kind of pay cut if he wants to make the move to Real Madrid. But I think now it has been confirmed, that I think his wages are going to get lowered, so he can make the move to Real Madrid. And obviously at the moment, Paul Pogba is holding up our transfers. Obviously, Manchester United, of course, want to clarify Paul Pogba's situation, clarify the situation with Paul Pogba, before, where we go in for the likes of Tanguy and Ndombele and all that. Because obviously, Tanguy and Ndombele has been a Manchester United target. I don't see us getting a deal over the line for him. There has been a lot of talks about him going on. It says the likes of Tottenham are in for him. PSG have obviously, been in for him. The likes of Juventus have also, been in for him. But I think it did say that Tottenham are the front runners for his signature at the moment. Tanguy and Ndombele is only 22 years of age. I think he's primarily a central midfielder, and I do really, really like him. I think he's got a contract with Lyon until 2023. Obviously, Lyon got him last summer permanently for around £7 or £8 million. Well, they initially had him on loan for one season. I think did Lyon. They initially paid to get him on loan around £2 million. They paid to get him on loan, and then obviously they paid 7 or 8 million to get him permanently. Tanguy and Ndombele. But I think he's initially valued at around 87 or 88 million pounds. But yeah, I think he'd be fantastic for Manchester United, and obviously we'd probably see him as a replacement of Ander Herrera. I think he can play as a defensive midfielder, but I'm sure he's primarily a central midfielder as Tanguy and Ndombele. So there has also been a lot of talks about him going on, but I think Man United have delayed the move for him, as it did report, was it in the Metro yesterday, until we saw the situation out with Paul Pogba. So basically the club are waiting on Paul Pogba's future. But yeah, I think he needs to put this transfer request in, there's Paul Pogba. Obviously, at least in his last 7 or 8 games, though, his performances for Manchester United have been way below par, and that just emphasises, that Paul Pogba doesn't want to be at Manchester United anymore. And maybe one of the main factor reasons why Paul Pogba wants to leave Manchester United, because maybe he isn't, because maybe we're not. He wants to be playing to the highest level. Maybe wants to be up there challenging. Maybe wants to be up there winning silverware. And of course, Manchester United are a number of years of doing that. And obviously, he did say, I think Manchester United have been in negotiations of trying to get him a new contract. As I just said, obviously, we do know that he's got 3 years left on his contract as Paul Pogba. Well, 2 years with an option of a further year. Obviously, we do know at least in last 3 or 4 weeks that Paul Pogba's agent Riley Ola has been in the process of finding him a new club. But obviously, it's quite obvious that Paul Pogba wants to leave. He told Manchester United teammates he's intending on leaving the club this summer. Obviously, he was talking a lot about Real Madrid, weeks back, about his dream to play for them and all that. And obviously, we do know that Zinedine Zidane is a big admirer of the player. Obviously, it's Zinedine Zidane's main priority target. Well, his 2 main priority targets, obviously, Paul Pogba and Eden Hazard. Obviously, now Real Madrid have come to an agreement. Real Madrid have come to an agreement, to get Eden Hazard. Of course, I think a fee's been agreed. Real Madrid and Chelsea have agreed a fee. The contract's been agreed. The personal terms have been agreed, but it hasn't been yet finalised. Of course, it might be right. I think the fee's around 86 million, or is it 100 million? I'm not too sure. But Chelsea were initially demanding that they wanted around 100 million pounds, for Eden Hazard. But Eden Hazard, as I currently said, he's a great player. I still think he's definitely one of the best in the Premier League. Some people say he's overrated. I think he's 28 years of age now. He's Eden Hazard. But yeah, he's had 7 good years with Chelsea as Eden Hazard. Of course, he has made over 300 appearances in all competitions. Chelsea tried to convince him to sign a new contract, but obviously, he didn't sign a new contract. I think Chelsea were willing to offer him around £300,000 a week, Eden Hazard. But obviously, obviously when Zinedine Zidane, made the return back to Real Madrid, when he stepped back into the job, obviously that convinced Eden Hazard more, to currently join Real Madrid. But yeah, Chelsea willing to offer him £300,000 a week. But obviously, Chelsea want to cash in for him this summer rather than letting him go on a free transfer in the summer of 2020. But Eden Hazard, as I said, you see the best of him from that left-hand side. Quite a few times throughout the course of this season, he has been playing in that false number 9 position as Eden Hazard, but that's not his favourite position. He's mainly good from that left-hand side as Eden Hazard. I know you can put him as an attacking midfielder, but yeah, he's definitely still one of the best in the Premier League. But obviously, Chelsea will be disappointed about this because obviously, they can't find an adequate replacement for Eden Hazard because obviously, they've got a transfer ban. Chelsea, they can't do any transfer activity in the next couple of windows. We do know Chelsea appealed against the decision, but obviously, they lost out on their appeal, did Chelsea, and obviously they got the transfer ban by FIFA, of course, for tapping around minors, did Chelsea. So yeah, they aren't going to be able to find a replacement for Eden Hazard. So I think it's going to be finalised after the Europa League final that he's going to be officially joining Real Madrid. And now obviously he's now focusing. Zinedine Zidane's now focusing getting a deal over the line for Pogba. I think he did initially say that Manchester United want around £160 million for Paul Pogba, but I don't think we're going to get £160 million for Paul Pogba. I think maybe we could get around 120 or £130 million for him. And yeah, so I think he's definitely going to be making the move to Real Madrid. But obviously, reflecting back last year, Paul Pogba was heavily into a move away from Old Trafford, based on his poor relationship with Jose Mourinho. Obviously, his former club Juventus were linked to him last year. Obviously, Barcelona were linked to him last year. And obviously, Paul Pogba got one of his best wishes when Jose Mourinho got sacked from the club. Obviously, Paul Pogba is a World Cup winner. Obviously, with Manchester United, he's won the Europa League with us, and he has won the League Cup with us. Obviously, that came in Jose Mourinho's first season. But yeah, Manchester United, as you all know, paid £89 million to him, so potentially he is our most expensive signing. But we get around 120 or 130 million for Pogba. We could, potentially, get 2 players with that money, of course. But as I said, I think Bruno Fernandes, would be the right replacement for him. And as I have been currently giving you an update as well in regards to Ryan Sessegnon, there has been reports breaking out about that at least in the last couple of days. As I said, it has basically said that Manchester United have made initial contact with Fulham over the potential move for Ryan Sessegnon. I think he's reportedly rated at around £40 million, and this is what Fulham would demand for Ryan Sessegnon. It also said that Tottenham have expressed their interest. I think Tottenham have been linked to him for quite a while. It also said that Juventus have been interested in Ryan Sessegnon. Ryan Sessegnon is very, very young. He's only 19 years of age. He's done very, very well for Fulham. Obviously, he's been their senior squad like 3 years now as Ryan Sessegnon, and he has gone to make over 100 odd appearances. He can play as a left back and a left winger. I do think now Ryan Sessegnon is primarily a left winger, but he has now got the experience. Ryan Sessegnon, obviously, 1 year of experience in the Premier League, under his belt. Obviously, in the Championship the season before. But I think Ryan Sessegnon, is demanding that he wants to leave Fulham because obviously he's not intending on spending another season in the Championship with Fulham. Obviously, Fulham are back in the Championship next season. Obviously, they've been currently relegated with Fulham after only spending 1 season in the top flight. But obviously, so far Ryan Sessegnon has spent the entirety of his career with Fulham. As I did say, he's risen up their ranks, for about 8 years. Did Ryan Sessegnon, and as I said, now he's been in their senior squad, for about 3 years. Obviously, he's only got a year left on his deal with Fulham as Ryan Sessegnon, and as well, he actually became the first player born in the 2000s, to score a goal in the first team game, did Ryan Sessegnon. But as I just said, he's only got a year left on his deal. But I think Manchester United, have been linked with Ryan Sessegnon in the past, quite a few times. But he actually, made his senior debut at just the age of 16, so he has progressed up the ranks fantastically well. And maybe now Ryan Sessegnon, wants to be playing to the highest level, wants to be up there competing, and obviously, he's not going to experience this with Fulham. So I do believe that he wants to take his career to the next level. But I'd love Ryan Sessegnon to come to Manchester United. I think he's got immense talent, of course. I think on that left-hand side, as I do keep saying, I think we're okay on that left-hand side, and we don't really need to address that left-hand side. There's other areas definitely in the squad where we do need to address, because you can see the deficiencies in the squad, and we've got to resolve these problems in the summer. But I think on that left-hand side, we're okay, because obviously we've got Luke Shaw as our left-back. I think Luke Shaw, is quite reliable. reliable. Of course, hasn't done much wrong as a Manchester United player. Of course, they won the Player of the Year, and yeah, so I don't really think we need Ryan Sessegnon, to be quite honest. You know, some people will say maybe we do need a backup left back, you know, to Luke Shaw, of course. But actually now looking at, you know, Ryan Sessegnon, you know, primarily plays as a winner. And I do believe, you know, them full-back positions have been a concern, at least in the last 2 to 3 years, of course. But I definitely, you know, do believe that we do currently need a right back. But obviously, you know, talking about, you know, that left hand side, of course, I don't think, another reason I don't think we'll get Ryan Sessegnon. Manchester United are the only club anywhere that have made contact with Fulham over it. But I don't think we'll get him in. Another reason why I don't think we'll get him in, because obviously, you know, we're on the brink of completing a deal, you know, for Swansea City's Daniel James. And obviously, as you all know, Daniel James primarily, you know, plays as a winner. And obviously, you know, he mainly plays on that left-hand side, you know, where he's mainly effective, you know, Daniel James. Because obviously, you know, the reports broke out about this last week, saying that Manchester United are closing on a deal for around £15 million for Daniel James. I don't know if he's got, like, the capabilities or the attributes, you know, to come and succeed in the Premier League. Can he meet them expectation levels, Manchester United, and that is the question, because obviously he hasn't played to the highest level yet. Don't get me wrong, he's only 21 years of age, he is a Welsh international, so he is still very, very young, he's Daniel James, and let's be honest, he is a surprise solution, he is a low expectation, he's Daniel James, you know, he is a cheap acquisition, so £15 million is very, very cheap, of course, and, you know, there has been quite a few teams that have attracted their interest in Daniel James. You know, Leeds were on the brink of getting him in January. I think Leeds are still interested in him now. You know, the likes of Everton have been interested in Daniel James. But obviously, you know, Daniel James has only got a year left on his contract with Swansea. But I think, you know, his performances have been very, very impressive throughout the course of this season with Swansea. I think he's played about 30 odd games. But do you think he'd fit the Manchester United agenda if he was to come in? And looking at it, ultimately, I think he will be our first signing for this summer. Of course, you know, Daniel James, but he is actually, you know, a Championship player. But obviously, you know, if Daniel James, you know, does come in, I think Man United will consider, you know, probably putting Anthony Martial in, like, you know, more of a central position. You know, if Daniel James is supposedly, you know, to come in, of course. But it hasn't been finalised as yet. But reports came out from Sky Sports, as you all know, last week, saying that Manchester United are close to coming to an agreement on a £15 million, you know, fee, you know, for Daniel James, of course. So yeah, a lot of talks about him, you know, currently going on. So yeah, and he primarily plays on the left of course. We could actually, you know, rotate him to the right, but I think he's supposed to be more effective from that left-hand side, as I just currently said. And, you know, talking about Anthony Martial, as I said, you know, we do know he's one of the problematic players at the moment. Well, let's be honest, you know, the majority of this squad at the moment is problematic. And as I said, all the players, you know, we do want out. Of course, you know, we're not going to be able to address this problem in the summer. It's going to take us a couple of windows, you know, to resolve this problem, of course. But as I did say, talking about Anthony Martial, Martial won't be sold this summer anywhere, and I still really, really like him. But Martial's performances, at least in the last couple of months, you know, have been way below par. Martial's been at Manchester United now 4 seasons, as you all know, and he's still very, very young, 23 years of age. You know, I've still got a lot of years ahead of him as Anthony Martial. But you do know how much I like Anthony Martial, because in his 4-year period, you know, he has shown glimpses of his best form. You know, we saw it early on throughout the course of this. We saw it early on in the season. Last couple of months he's failed to replicate it. You know, we saw it in his first season, of course, you know, at Manchester United. And we got him in a deal, you know, worth around £36 million, you know, rising up to 57 or £58 million, you know, based on goals and achievements. Obviously, Manchester United, you know, give him a new 5-year deal back in January. But I don't think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been impressed with his performances, obviously. You know, obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, you know, wasn't happy, you know, with his bad attitude in training. Obviously, you know, hasn't been happy with his behaviour. But I still believe he's a long-term solution. But obviously, he hasn't graduated to that level yet, Martial. And I think it's going to take him at least a couple of years, you know, to get to that level, you know, where he currently wants to be. Yeah, but I still believe he's a long-term solution for Manchester United. But yeah, we did give him a new long-term contract. And but yeah, I think if Daniel James comes in, I think we'll probably, you know, put Martial in more of a central position. And talking about, you know, that right-back position, I do believe that Manchester United do currently need a right-back, because it's obvious, you know, we need a replacement for Valencia. You know, we need an upgrade to Ashley Young. You know, we need a cover up for Diego Dalot, because obviously, you know, Diego Dalot is the upcoming future. And there has been a lot of talks going on about Wan-Bissaka today from Crystal Palace. Now, as I updated you earlier on, Crystal Palace are demanding that they want around £60 million for Wan-Bissaka. But I think his defensive capabilities are very, very good, and I think we need to get the right players that have got the abilities to elevate Manchester United, at least in next 2 to 3 years. And I think, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, would be the right solution. Obviously gained a bit of experience now, Wan-Bissaka, but he's only been in the senior squad, with Crystal Palace, since February of 2018. So he's been in the senior squad now about, 15 months now with Crystal Palace, of course, but he has been very, very impressive. He is one of England's upcoming hottest prospects because he's only 21 years of age. Aaron Wan-Bissaka has still got 3 years left on his contract with Crystal Palace, and yeah, but he's a very, very good. He's a very, very good fullback. Well, initially when he was younger, he was a right. I think he was a right winger. Was Aaron Wan-Bissaka, but obviously now he's been rotated he's been rotated, to right back to a right back now as Aaron Wan-Bissaka, and I think he has so far, spent the entirety of his career with Crystal Palace. But obviously, as we all know, he has been one of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's prime targets. So it would be fantastic for us. But reportedly, Crystal Palace want around 60 million. Reports came out a while back saying that he's fully committed to Crystal Palace's Aaron Wan-Bissaka, and he's intending on spending at least another season with Crystal Palace. So yeah, I would believe he would be fantastic for Manchester United. So yeah, we definitely need to sort that right back out. We do need a right back. Someone, as I said, as a replacement for Valencia. Someone as an upgrade to Ashley Young. So that's one position, of course, Manchester United do currently need to address. And as I did currently say, the good news is it's looking likely, that Alexis Sanchez is going to be leaving the club, which is very, very good news, because obviously, we do know that he's one of the problematic players. Obviously, he's the highest paid player at the club. He's the highest paid player in the Premier League, as we all know, and I think his wages are having a really, really bad effect on the club. And obviously, Juventus and Inter Milan Juventus and Inter Milan are heavily linked to Alexis Sanchez, of course, because obviously, Sanchez's agent, recently had been in Italy, because obviously, Juventus and Inter Milan had been in negotiations with Alexis Sanchez's agent, but I think Man United are intending on letting him go on a long season loan, of course. Obviously, we'd love to get rid of him permanently, but based on his substantial wages, we can't get rid of him permanently, because obviously, no team can afford to pay his current wages off. But yeah, I think next season he'll be playing his trade in Italy with either Inter Milan or Juventus. Man United have confirmed as well, when we send him on this long season loan, we are willing to pay half of his current wages off, and I think Sanchez has agreed the pay cut, of course. But to be quite honest with you, Sanchez hasn't exceeded expectation levels at Manchester United, because I thought when we got Sanchez he'd have exceeded expectation levels. I thought he'd have been a fundamental player for us. Reflecting back what he did at Arsenal, he played under Pep Guardiola when he was younger, so he's had a fantastic career, Sanchez, up until he came to Manchester United. But as I said, he's been so inconsistent at Manchester United. He has become an injury-prone player, as Alexis Sanchez, since he's currently been here. I think he's sustained about 4 injuries, and he's only been here about 15, 16 months. But he's on about 400 grand a week, but obviously, rises up to about 500 grand a week, based on image rights and, the bonuses and all that. And, yeah, but he's been so inconsistent as a Manchester United player, and he doesn't have a future now at the club anyway. He's 30 years of age. He has lost that yard of pace, and initially he plays on the left anywhere. Well, he can play in other positions because he's very versatile, is Sanchez. But when we've mainly played him, we've put him on the left hand side. But we haven't played him often because obviously, he hasn't been first choice. Alexis Sanchez, we know mainly that Martial has been first choice ahead of Alexis Sanchez, of course. And yeah, but he's become injury prone at Manchester United, so I do think he'll be making a return to Italy, because obviously, he played in Italy, when he was younger with under knees. I think this is when Sanchez was a lot currently younger. But yeah, he's been poor for Manchester United, and so inconsistent. And, talking about the likes of Nicolas Pepe, from Lille. Now, as we do know today, it has been confirmed that the Lille boss has confirmed that Nicolas Pepe, will be leaving Lille this summer, which is very, very good news. There's been a lot of teams that have attracted their interest in Nicolas Pepe. Arsenal have been monitoring and interested in for a couple of months at least. The likes of Liverpool have been in for him. Bayern Munich have been interested. I think it's PSG have also been interested. I think Real Madrid have expressed their interest, and obviously we do know that Manchester United are interested in him. I think Lille are demanding that they want around £70 million for Nicolas Pepe. It did initially say that Man United were eyeing a move for around £45 million for him. Manchester United have been in negotiations with Lille, to currently sign Nicolas Pepe, because I do believe he'd be the right solution for Manchester United. As the obvious candidate, for that right wing, is Nicolas Pepe, because he is primarily a winner, but he's got immense talent. He's got goals goals in him, he's got assists in him, and I do believe if he came to the Premier League, it would be the next step for Nicolas Pepe. But he's got all the capabilities, he's got all the attributes, to currently succeed in the Premier League. And obviously, so far he has spent the entirety of his career in France. Obviously, he's been at Lille a couple of seasons, has got a contract with them until 2022. And I do believe if he came to Manchester United, he would get us them goals we need, he would get us them assists that we do currently need. And I think he'd blend in very, very well in our attacking line, with Nicolas Pepe. So he's definitely leaving, according to the Lille boss. He's confirmed that Nicolas Pepe, of course, is going to be leaving the club this summer. So there's going to be obviously quite a few teams, pouncing in there for him, because obviously reflecting on his impressive performances throughout the course of this season with Lille. But I do really, really like this Nicolas Pepe. And as you all currently know as well, guys, as I've been giving you an update on a regular basis in the last couple of days in regards to David De Gea. Now, obviously, PSG have been heavily linked with David De Gea. Obviously, we do know that Real Madrid have been long admirers of David De Gea. But as I did currently say, I think I updated you today. I think it was my first video I currently did, guys. Well, should I say yesterday now, because it's currently 12:10. It did say now that PSG are planning, to sign David De Gea on a free transfer next year. Potentially this means PSG wouldn't have to pay any fee for David De Gea, and obviously this could tempt PSG to offer David De Gea a bigger salary, because reports came out a while back saying that PSG were willing to offer him around £450,000 a week. But if De Gea goes, I do think he'll go to PSG. I think PSG have their eye on the demands to UEFA financial fair play, because obviously, as you all know, PSG have spent big in the last couple of seasons on two players, and that was obviously on Mbappe and Neymar, of course. And yeah, but they've expressed a strong interest in David De Gea, and hopefully somewhere along the line, I hope Manchester United can come to an agreement to get David De Gea a new contract, of course. And obviously, we do know Man United for a long, long time have been in negotiations trying to get David De Gea a new contract. But obviously, we've not yet come to an agreement to get him one, because David De Gea is demanding that he wants around £400,000 a week. So he's demanding a £200,000 pay rise, because at the moment he's on £200,000 a week on his current deal is De Gea. But yeah, reportedly Ed Woodward is refusing to meet his current wage demands, of course. And obviously, David De Gea has been a great servant to the club. He's been here 8 seasons, of course, hasn't really stepped a foot out of line. Okay, towards the end of the season, he was making quite a few mistakes and costly errors was De Gea. But I do believe at the moment he's going through a difficult period, and I think the main factor of it is probably because with something to do with the contract situation. And I don't think he wants to be at Manchester United anymore. There's David De Gea. As we all do currently know, he's only got a year left on his contract as De Gea. But if we can't come to an agreement to get him a contract, we'd want to cash in for De Gea this summer, rather than let him go on a free transfer next year. We do know, I think David De Gea is worth around £100 million. But looking at, obviously, he's only got a year left on his contract. I don't think we'd get £100 million. We'd probably maybe get around 60 or 70 million pounds for him. But yeah, he's potentially the best goalkeeper in the world. He has made over 300 appearances in all competitions for the club. Obviously, David De Gea has won everything here domestically. But if he does go, David De Gea, obviously, we're going to need a replacement for him. And obviously, Real Madrid was so close to getting him in 2015, but due to the fax machine on deadline day, the current deal never materialised. But I don't see, Real Madrid, getting him anywhere, of course, because obviously, they're too focused on getting the likes of Pogba and obviously getting Eden Hazard, of course. So I don't see, Real Madrid currently getting him, of course, and yeah, so if he leaves David De Gea, I think he will be currently going to Paris Saint-Germain, of course. So I have been giving you an update about that on a regular basis. Obviously, talks came out yesterday saying that Man United, well, should I say the day before now, because it's 12:15. Talks came out saying Man United had reportedly had a bid turned down for what's his name now, if I can pronounce it, Onana, something. Andrea Onana, that's it, I've just remembered his name. The current Ajax goalkeeper. It said Manchester United reportedly had a £35 million bid turned down for him. He's only very, very young. He's this Ajax goalkeeper. He's only 23 years of age, but he has had 3 years worth of experience as Ajax's starting goalkeeper. So it did say Manchester United were seeing him as a possible replacement for David De Gea. But yeah, he's been at Ajax. He's been in Ajax's senior squad. About 3 years now as this Andrea Onana. But yeah, it did say Man United had reportedly had a £35 million bid turned down for him. So De Gea leaves. We are going to need a replacement for him. I know we've got the likes of Sergio Romero. As you all know, we've got the likes of Sergio Romero, but I think he was very, very good in the FA Cup this season, but I don't think yet he's got the he's got, he's reliable enough, to become our #1 goalkeeper, Romero. We've got the likes of Dean Henderson, but he hasn't really got the experience yet. As you all know, he's currently on loan at Sheffield United at the moment. Obviously, we've got Lee Grant, of course, so he's the backup for De Gea at the moment, but I think Lee Grant, probably, will be leaving Manchester United this summer. So, yeah, so if De Gea leaves, we're definitely, going to need a replacement for him. Of course, he's still got years ahead of him, De Gea, he's 28 years of age, and I still believe he's got at least about 3 or 4 years left minimum as David De Gea. But if Man United are willing to meet his £400,000 a week wage demands, then I think he'll sign a new contract and he will commit his long-term future to the club. And as I did currently say, I do believe that Manchester United need a central defender, as you all know. We need someone that can go alongside Victor Lindelof. Big breaking news as well coming out of the press in regards to Ajax's De Ligt. Now, reportedly now, Man United recently got informed that it's looking likely he's going to be joining Barcelona, is De Ligt. But now, according to The Sun, I've just currently read, he's moved now to Barcelona as reportedly stalled, because obviously, Barcelona have been the favourites, to get him on the board, De Ligt. But now, Man United, of course, are still in for De Ligt. I think Liverpool, of course, are in for him. I think Manchester City have showed an interest, because it has currently confirmed that Vincent Kompany has now left Manchester City after serving 11 years at Manchester City, of course. So obviously now Manchester City will want a replacement for Vincent Kompany. Man City will want a replacement of Vincent Kompany. I think it has been confirmed, is it, that he's now Anderlecht's player manager or something like that. But yeah, he served 11 good years with Manchester City. So obviously now Manchester City are going to want a replacement of Vincent Kompany. But talking with you about De Ligt, of course, it came out in the press the other week saying that Barcelona had reportedly agreed a £60 million fee with Ajax, for De Ligt. But obviously, was it a few weeks ago, Edwin van der Sar, who's currently the CEO of Ajax, he come out and said that De Ligt is likely to leave Ajax this summer, and he did say basically that he thinks that De Ligt will either move to England or Spain, so that's where it will be likely he will be prying his trade next season. De Ligt, and Ajax have got a really good young squad, and we do know De Ligt's not going to come cheap. Of course, he's going to probably, I don't think would have to break the world transfer record for him, but he is going to probably cost you around 60 or maybe even £70 million, and that will be his valuation. Obviously, he's been in the senior squad about 3 years now with Ajax. Obviously, so far he has spent the entirety of his career with Ajax. Obviously, being an Ajax player since the age of 8 or 9 years old as De Ligt. But I think he became more of a first-team starter in Ajax's squad, of course, when Ajax, let Davinson Sanchez go back in 2017 to Tottenham. But yeah, there has been quite a few teams in for him, of course. But now, reportedly, he's moved to Barcelona as currently stalled. I don't know the reason. I didn't read the full article. Is it something to do with the wage demands? I'm not too sure about that. But, Liverpool are in for him because, for me, Liverpool don't even need a central defender, because obviously, they've got Virgil van Dijk, and obviously, De Ligt and Van Dijk, know each other really well, because obviously, they're both Dutch, of course, they're both playing the Netherlands national team, of course, and Virgil van Dijk has addressed Liverpool's defensive deficiencies fantastically well. Obviously, the most expensive defender at the moment, but I think now Liverpool are still in for De Ligt, Manchester United are in for him, of course, and I think a few teams have expressed their interest in, but I do believe that De Ligt is currently going to be leaving. He is 19 years of age now. He is very tall as well, which is very beneficial. But Barcelona obviously have got Frankie de Jong on board. They agreed the fee with Ajax last summer for around £75 million, but it was a year in advance, so he's going to be joining Barcelona this summer. Is Frankie de Jong, so they've already got a deal over the line for one of De Ligt's teammates. But now reportedly Barcelona move now for De Ligt could be in jeopardy, according to the Sun, because it says he's moved to Barcelona has currently stalled. But I think City, will probably go in for him, because obviously their team is a good replacement for Vincent Kompany. Still got a lot of years ahead of him, and I do believe De Ligt, probably would succeed in the Premier League. And I'd love him, to come to Manchester United. And obviously, other central defenders, that Manchester United have been interested in. As you all know, the likes of Koulibaly. I think he's the club's #1 priority target now, is, Koulibaly. And I do really like Koulibaly. I think he's got the attributes, to succeed in the Premier League. He's an experienced central defender, is Koulibaly. He has been on Manchester United's agenda, now for quite some time. But now he is our #1 target. Well, initially, it was Jadon Sancho. That was our #1 target for a very long time. time. But obviously now we know that Jadon Sancho is going to be staying here with Borussia Dortmund. So obviously now we've identified Koulibaly as our #1 summer target. And obviously, most recently, Carlo Ancelotti, regarded Koulibaly as one of the best centre-backs in the world. And I do believe he's one of the best in the world. I don't think he is the best in the world, but I believe he's one of the best. I believe he's one of the best in the world. I think Virgil van Dijk has definitely, been better than Koulibaly this season. But I'd love Koulibaly, to come and experience the Premier League. He has still got quite a few years ahead of him, but I do believe he'd produce and deliver the same element, the performances, with Koulibaly, if he was to come to the Premier League. And it would be fantastic if Koulibaly, was to come to the Premier League, as I said. Obviously got a contract with Napoli till 2023. More than likely, Manchester United, probably would have to break the world transfer record, to get a deal over the line for Koulibaly. I think his initial release clause is around £110 million in his deal. But yeah, financially, Napoli would make a huge profit on the player, because obviously Napoli got him for next to no. They only paid around £6 or £7 million for him from Gent back in 2014, and he has gone to make over 200 appearances for Napoli, of course. And we haven't had a world-class central defender, since we had the likes of Vidic, since we had the likes of Ferdinand, of course. So yeah, we've definitely got to get a central defender in, because defensively we've been shocking this season. And I think we conceded around 54 goals in the Premier League, of course. So that just emphasises, the issues in our defensive line. But I do believe we need someone that can go alongside Victor Lindelof. And I think he's been very, very good this season as Victor Lindelof. But I think the likes of Rojo is probably going, which is very, very good, because we can cash in for him. Possibly Eric Bailly is currently going to be going. Smalling and Jones, definitely, still will be at Manchester United next season. Even though I do currently want them to currently leave Smalling and Jones. And it was a bad mistake for Manchester United, giving Smalling a new long-term contract, giving Phil Jones a new long-term contract, because they have been both long-serving players at the club. And don't get me wrong, Phil Jones is, not Phil Jones, Chris Smalling is a much, much better defender than Phil Jones, comparing them together. But, I still want them both out, but they're not currently, I still believe they're going to be at Manchester United next season, of course. I think we can cash in for Darmian. We can cash in for Darmian as well, which is very, very good news, because Darmian's endured a very, very difficult time as a Manchester United player. And yeah, so we can get maybe around 25 or 30 million pounds, for Darmian and Rojo. As I did say, we can cash in for Lukaku. That's going to help us with our transition, of course. So that's really mainly everything to update you on. But the main part of this video, was to give you an update on in regards to Joao Fleix from Benfica. Now, reportedly, we've stepped our interest in Joao Fleix. Yet again, Manchester United instructed scouts at the weekend, to keep a close eye out on Joao Fleix. But Manchester United scouts have been watching him at least in the last couple of months. Obviously, based on his fantastic performances. I think Man United are prepared to pay up to the £100 million for Joao Fleix, because that's his £100 million release clause in his deal. But yeah, only 19 years of age, is the upcoming future, and I do believe that he can become one of the best players in the world, Joao Fleix. And I don't think he can emulate into a Cristiano Ronaldo, as I said, or relying on Messi or a Neymar, but I do believe he can become one of the best in the world. And this is why it'd be good for him, to experience the Premier League. I think it would take his career to the next level if he was to currently come to the Premier League, of course. But as I did say, it's going to be difficult for us to attract players to the elite level, of course, because obviously you do know, we're not in a Champions League football for next season. But obviously, as you all know, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did blatantly say that he still believes we can attract players to the highest level, even though we're not in a Champions League football for next season. And obviously, I still believe we're at least 3 or 4 years off, from mounting any kind of title challenge up. Obviously, Manchester United haven't won the Premier League since 2013, of course. And, last time we won a trophy, of course, was a couple of years ago. We won the Europa League against Ajax, of course. But yeah, there has been positive news, as I said, in regards to the late, as I've just said to you. Now, reportedly his move to Barcelona has stalled, according to the Sun. So now, obviously, City are probably going to be going in for him, because obviously, Vincent Kompany has left Manchester City, and Liverpool, obviously, still in for him. Liverpool have been interesting, at least in the last couple of weeks of the reports I've been reading. But it has been looking likely that he's going to be going to Barcelona, but now, reportedly, the move is currently stalled. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do consider subscribing, as always, and take care. God bless, guys, and I'll see you all again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.